All right, what is going on, Banter fam? Welcome into the Friday edition of In the Game. I am your host, Hustle, and as always, we are going to be diving into not really the crypto gaming market as much as where crypto gaming is headed and where NFTs are headed and where this is going to play into the future of blockchain gaming and really the future of revolutionizing gaming, bringing players from the Web 2 space to the play to earn space. So joining me today will be a special guest, the CEO of Vulcan Forge, Jamie Thomson. So I'm excited to get into it today. We're going to talk everything regarding crypto gaming all the way through to the Vulcan Forge ecosystem, because I actually think there's key aspects of the ecosystem that people don't really know about yet. And it's always good to hear direct from the people building and developing the project. So we'll bring Jamie on and we'll get into it. Without further ado, let's get in the game.
T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
If you ain't here to hustle, why is you here? But if you here to hustle, the moon is near. It's crypto Banter, not financial advice. If you don't listen, what's the cost, what's the price? This ain't a game, put you on game. I know we gon' play, but ain't a percent. If you ain't here to hustle, why is you here? But if you here to hustle, the moon is near. It's crypto Banter, not financial advice. If you don't listen, what's the cost, what's the price? This ain't a game, put you on game. I know we gon' play, but ain't here to play. If you get lost, show you the way.
All right, and let's get into it. And I'm going to immediately go ahead and bring on our guest for the show today, because we're going to talk all things about the space. And I'm happy to be joined by CEO of Vulcan Forge, Jamie Thomson. Jamie, how are you doing this evening? And I'd like you to tell people the state that you're in this afternoon, because
well, actually, I just came out of the hospital. I had knee surgery yesterday on a torn ACL ligament. But when I knew I was going to be on Crypto Banter, it was like, well, come on, you got to get home and get on with it. I was hoping to do it from the hospital bed with an oxygen mask, just to prove my dedication to the crypto gaming space. But
it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, it would show that the forge keeps building, even though the mastermind behind it is with the oxygen mask. So I hope I'm glad to hear everything went well, and I hope the recovery goes well. But I'm glad to just get into it with you today. And I kind of just want to run down a couple topics. We'll start at the beginning, just kind of tell people about yourself real quick, just in case anyone hasn't heard about your background, anything like that. How did you get into building Vulcan Forge, and kind of tell people how you came from the Web 2 gaming scene and now are in the crypto gaming space and building these NFT games? Because I think it's a really good story, because there's cases out there that haven't worked out well. So go ahead and tell people about kind of your background.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess we're one of the few projects or studios that went the other way around. Instead of going from crypto to gaming, we were like quite a small gaming studio that went from gaming into crypto. We messed around with sort of NFTs a good few years ago, actually. Even while OpenSea was like a very basic kind of WordPress site or whatever, we were playing around with digital art NFTs, a site called Variati, and it didn't really take off. We should have stayed with it, damn it. But we sort of played NFTs there, and then went back to a few games. And then we did see the potential with sort of ownership through NFTs very early, in our lesser sort of known games like Block Babies and such. And then, we knew Decentraland's around. We knew Sandbox was kind of coming out, but no one had really taken grip of this idea of the metaverse. So we started making a sort of downloadable metaverse called Vulcanverse. So by the time this whole metaverse wave came about and Sandbox was all over the place and everyone was talking about sort of crypto gaming, we'd already had alpha out in Vulcanverse. So we were pretty much in the right place at the right time. And so then we just kept pumping games out, but with NFTs and ownership behind it all. So yeah, I guess a bit of luck combined with opportunity, it kind of put us where we are today.
Yeah, well, I think having a great ideology, and I love people. We won't get into it too much on this show, but there's so much lore behind Vulcanverse, and I love everything that y'all are kind of building into it, right? And then the whole ecosystem kind of feeds off of it. All the games have their own unique theme, right? Like with the poker game, like the Vulcan Poker, and we have like the as you said, the Vulcan Runner. We'll talk about. We'll get into the games and stuff like that. But what do you think about where the space is heading? So, you've transitioned into the Web3 space, and you're now, running an amazing project at Vulcan Forge, one of the best studios out there in ecosystems. So NFTs will likely dominate the digital asset universe in the future, from JP Morgan. And we've seen, these companies, they say they're hiring for crypto jobs, but honestly, I've covered on this show basically all these companies and about metaverse jobs. So most of these jobs postings are actually about like metaverse, how to move into the digital future. So where do you think the space is going over the next couple of years in general?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. With any sort of hype wave, you've always got that initial sort of few months where no one really knows what they're doing. They're moving around like Pac-Man in different directions, trying to get some sort of understanding where everything's going. The whole idea of the metaverse, even myself, who's like, we're building a metaverse, or are we within a metaverse? So the whole concept of what that even is, I think still has to be defined. I mean, metaverse, it only means sort of a futuristic world. So you could say we've been in the metaverse on Facebook or whatever for many years. But it's just like some companies are going down the route of, well, metaverse has to be VR and AR and new technology in the Oculus. Whereas blockchain games have kind of said, well, if it's got an NFT, it counts as the metaverse because you can own it. And sort of blockchain ownership is a new part of technology. So I don't really think there's any, real sort of solid definition of what it is at the moment. I do know that NFTs are going to be here, and they're going to be here forever. Unfortunately, I think you're going to get a big wave of dilution. Like everyone and their dog's going to make an NFT collection. People, just like, I guess, tokens back in 2018, there'll be a load of crap coins that will be wiped off, a lot of NFTs will be wiped off, but definitely. The technology will always remain. And I think ownership within games is just a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, especially, and there's such a resistance right now in the Web2 gaming scene, or just in traditional games, where like the players don't really get the NFT side of things yet. And the ones, there's a switch that flips in your head. And I think it's with all of crypto, right? When you're in the centralized space, but then you see the capabilities of what a decentralized system can do, whether it's gaming or whether it's finance or whether it's obviously the combination of both, right? I'm guilty as charged. I've spent money in video games that I didn't have asset ownership of, right? I'm sure that maybe you have over time in your tenure gaming and stuff like that. So like I know for a fact that I have put money into a game where I don't own it. So once people get their head wrapped around that, right? Because I'd love to be able to sell all the Call of Duty assets that I feel extracted from, right? Once you buy them and then you can't do anything with them, you almost feel extracted. The NFTs, they provide so much of an ownership capability.
Exactly, it's that ownership. Yeah, it's that ownership, I think, which gamers haven't got the hang of yet. And it's funny you touch on the point of people paying to play still, and I do too. I think I was playing a tower defense last night and still bunged like a couple of dollars in there, and that's where we're at. I mean, the reality, whether it's sad or happy or whatever, the reality is play to earn is not taking over the pay to earn business right now. There isn't a competition for these giant gaming studios.
Right.
One console game can sell absolutely hundreds of millions, if it does successfully. Whereas the sort of the pay to earn thing is a really hard circle to square, because I always say this story that when we started out, moving into sort of crypto with gaming, we thought, well, the crypto market, it's enormous, billions of dollars. The gaming market, billions of dollars. So if you combine the two, you would get like the billions and billions of dollars. Like, it'd be the biggest market. But what we found, and so I noticed this, like going back in some interviews, I've said, I'll change my point of view, is that the gamers don't really warm to the play to earn sort of concept. In fact, you saw the whole Ubisoft announcement recently, how that went down. It wasn't exactly great for them. And on the other side, the people that want to earn money don't really care if the games are that good or not. So you've got these two audiences thinking, well, who are you catering to? And that did cause me a little bit of, a few sleepless nights of thinking, well, listen, is this going to work? But then what you find out as you go on, and Vulcanverse is a good example of this. So we made Vulcanverse literally around the players. It was an alpha, avatar wigs flying over the place and the wolves stuck in the grass. But the community loved it. And they stayed with it because of the simple fact that they owned that wolf, or they owned that avatar's hair or whatever. So they were far more accepting of these things going wrong. And so it shows you how powerful owning something within a virtual environment or game, I think, really is. And that's the new demographic that's going to come out of all this.
Yeah, and I love y'all's approach right now. And y'all are attacking a lot of different game styles, right? So y'all are building a lot of different games under a lot of different, I would call it genres almost, or just appeal. And there's so much different appeals that you can get into with a card game, kind of like a Hearthstone, right? Vulcan first, of course, you could probably liken it to so many different worlds out there, kind of like a combination of like the RuneScapes and the World of Warcrafts of the world in a way. And I've gone in there and I absolutely love it. And what I agree with you on 100% is we've seen not only Ubisoft fail, and I won't name project names, but there's been, games that had a successful app, let's say, beforehand on the App Store, and they built in play to earn mechanics, but they just didn't understand how to make it successful. The game can be quality, a game can be good, but as you mentioned, these play to earn economies, they are here to earn. At this point in time, they're here because of that. And I love the capability that definitely your ecosystem, for example, provides, because there's so much different opportunity in these games, because you can get started playing Berserk for free. You can start earning XP and just kind of start grinding there. You can try out all the different games. And if you join up on the Discord, you can try the poker game and all that good stuff. So I've been definitely getting in there, grinding, trying to get some XP, get that free.
I didn't know you played the games as well. That's awesome.
Maybe get in there and get that free Troy land drop later.
Very good. Yeah, someone's done that research. Yeah, on Monday.
So we'll try to get in there. So I guess walk us through the amount of. So I know that right now you'll have about 5 or 6 live playable games right now, correct?
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, Vulcanverse was always the big one, obviously, and it's always going to expand. As you said, it's like a sort of World of Warcraft meets Minecraft meets RuneScape, that kind of thing, and it's always developing. For now, right now, Beta's open and people are wandering around, foraging, building, and as I said, the joy of it is people owning what they make. You plant a tree, you build a house like you see in that photo, it's yours, and you can sell the land on it. And where we're at. So compared to sandboxes where we are now in browser based, I mean, I think we are pushing the limits a little bit in terms of what you can make. We do get a lot of people saying, well, come on, this looks like from the 1990s or 2000s. And we get it. I mean, that's why we made Temple Run in Unreal. We want to show you can do good graphics, but when you've got everything changing around you, literally as you're walking around on blockchain, you can't push the polygons anymore. I mean, of course, we would love to have hyper realism, but it's just impractical. Everything you're building is getting saved to blockchain. So we've done as well as we can. And the other games, sort of Hearthstone game, Berserk, and we've got an Auto Battler. We've even got like Vulcanite chess. The real sort of difference is we sort of aim for 2 economies here. One is a sort of virtual world economy where you can sort of live and trade and breed your Vulcanites, all this kind of stuff, like a virtual Second Life on blockchain. But the other thing we've done are games like Temple Run or Tower Defense or the Auto Battler, where there's it's an infinite game, so you die after playing a certain amount of time. The way we've incorporated the play to earn there is that it's called the Frenzy Pass. You pay a couple of lava, and then everyone who wants to have a run, like you are now on the Vulcan Runner, you pay a couple of lava to have a go. You can pay as many times as you want to play, and after 24 hours, the top 50% share the lava pool, and the other 50% gets burned. So what that does, it sort of maintains the value of the secondary token. We've been very lucky, actually, in seeing a few other projects go ahead from us, like SLP and Axie, for example, of what kind of to try and avoid. We'll always tip our hats to Decentraland and Axie Infinity, but the important thing for a secondary token is it can't just be play to earn and everyone just takes the money. It's just not sustainable. It has to be play to earn to reinvest back into the game. So, we sort of, we limit the lava supply. We add a load of use cases to it. We've got an instant swap to peer on the decks.
Yeah.
But it's still really early stage. I mean, it's an economy. We're all in creating economies, really, which are just complex things.
Yeah. And for example, I love the simplicity of some of these games, right? So I think everyone can relate to playing a Temple Run on the App Store at some point, and then coming out with the Vulcan Runner. I think it's just an immediate, I would want to hop in and play this game as soon as it comes out, for example.
Right,
It's just so simple.
Up to us to make it addictive as possible, so you keep putting the quarters in the machine, and
Yeah, and I preach on the show all the time. Right now, simple is good. And I've heard you on multiple AMAs and on Fox Business and that likes of talking about right now, graphics aren't everything. It's not about building the most cutting edge, futuristic, blockchain game today. It's about building something that people can come in and participate and own in, like you said. And y'all have so many opportunities. And then also like the poker game. So there's so much appeal. Whatever your interest is right now, there's so much that you can do. And then, so y'all have a few live games, and then what's kind of maybe down the pipeline? What other types of games, I guess, in the future are you guys potentially going to develop to also bring to the fold? And then we will talk a little bit more about Vulcanverse, because y'all certainly do have a lot on the way there.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, at this stage right now, I think, we've only been really pushing a lot of games for a year. Vulcanverse only came out 1 year ago, and since then we just boshed out all these games very quickly. I think our community will thank me for saying that we want to just sort of get all these games completely up to, bug-free, sort of out of beta, and flowing as they should. I don't think we bit off more than we can chew. I think it's better kind of just building it, and the community sees that. Sees us operating, that they've been with us from the beginning. They know that, there's going to be bugs. It's like free QA testing every day. But, after a year or so, when there's still bugs happening, I can understand it gets a bit frustrating. So for now, we are just focusing on just nailing all the games we have out now to make them totally stable. And Vulcanverse is always going to be our baby. I mean, it just has a capacity to just be enormous. We've got the Does It Troy, being released next week. You can get LAN, expand, and then we'll release Atlantis in a few months. So that really, will be kind of the World of Warcraft on blockchain. And I think that's the best way you could have the play to earn is an economy within a virtual world. And that's what I always kind of stress. I mean, that's what, for me, the metaverse is. It's creating an economy within something fun or digital. And you don't need this hyper-realistic. Well, first of all, from a game studio, I can say that you won't be able to have a dynamic sandbox made in Unreal 5. It's just impractical to assume everyone's going to have that computer power. Right. But second of all, it's just having this economy where you can sort of, I don't know, what you do in there actually affects you in the real world. And that's where the metaverse for me starts crossing boundaries into like, well, okay, is this dangerous? I mean, how greedy can humans get? How cliquey and what hierarchies get formed? You're seeing things you wouldn't see in a normal World of Warcraft game, which is like, play, see how you do, level up. Here, what you do, what you own, what you fish, what you forge in the blacksmith, it affects you in your day-to-day life. So everyone's really intense on just getting every little bit out of the world. It's a lot of responsibility, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. Understandable. So when you're looking at the Vulcanverse, I love the appeal, because this is the types of games that have withstood the test of time, right? Your game, there's the open world, the immersiveness, the amount of capabilities within the economy. And then I love, and we'll just kind of, it's a little bit of a retrace, I guess, which should have been maybe at the beginning, because I should have given you a thumbs up on this, because I love y'all's reaction to the compromise on the platform. Instead of basically cowering down or basically making excuses like any project could have. I don't even think that it would have been frowned upon, right? If the project had to say like, we have to slow things down for now while we recover, but that would almost been natural. But the fact that y'all have almost doubled down in that same time period, I love it. Like, y'all been basically adding even more utility to the land and adding even more capabilities to the current existing version of Vulcanverse, and then also teasing these new games. I mean, I think during this time period, y'all came out with the poker game. Y'all are now teasing the Vulcan Runner. So it's almost like y'all took the hack and used it as like motivation, like Michael Jordan would have or something.
Yeah, well, we had to, in all fairness. I mean, as I said, we weren't really into crypto before, so we didn't realize or know that the standard response for a lot of crypto projects is to just sort of, put your head in the sand or run off the money or lie or whatever like that. We sort of refunded everyone straight away. But just to give those sort of morbid people who are watching a sort of insight into the nightmare of what a hack is, it was 4:30 in the morning. I always have my phone on for notifications anyway, but I put it on silent except for a few people. And at 4 a.m, it was going off, ping, 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 ping. I was like, oh, something silly's happened. Checked it out. Jamie, can you check my wallet? I think my funds have been disappeared. I thought this must be a user error. I checked it, and the moderator said his has just gone. And I mean, if you really want to know what hell is in crypto, is watching all the wallets on your platform literally being emptied in front of your very eyes. Like, it was just the top 100, and it was all being sent to Uniswap and dumped. And I mean, what do you do? The first thing is you tell people you're going to pay them back, and you send back the peer. It took us ages to get the deposits and withdrawals shut down on the exchanges. But yeah, I mean, we learned a lesson on that one. It was hell on earth, and I wouldn't say we've totally bounced back from it, but we did all we could possibly do at the time.
Oh, the reaction to it was amazing. I've commended it since it happened, because it's almost just like y'all doubled down on development in the same time period, just kind of showing your dedication.
Yeah. It was motivation. Yeah, it was some fuel.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So there's so much coming. New avatar models, as you see. I think this was tweeted. Today, this morning.
Yeah, they're released today. All those new patches. Yeah.
So new avatar models and animations allows Cedalions to use NFT clothes. This is something we're going to get into in this show, because I don't think that people understand what Cedalion is yet in the ecosystem, maybe on a wider scale. So we'll talk about that. The Aphrodite and the Demeter buffs. So I guess those are characters, correct?
They're god buffs. They're gods. You
Got
can hold a god that gives you buffs in game. Yeah.
Got it. Pyramid models and decorations updated, volcano model updated, as well as the Arcadia patch, and everything looks awesome as well. I mean, just like the scenery, I was just playing it, and then just everything y'all are doing with Vulcanverse. And I want to talk about the blockchain, right? So right now, y'all's wallet capability, it runs through a third party, and then it's on also Ethereum and Polygon capabilities, correct?
Yeah.
So eventually that will all be turned over to Elysium once it's out of testnet, correct?
That's it. Yeah, you got it. You nailed it. You don't need me on the show, Johnny.
Well, hey, I'm just here to ask, because I think that people are maybe underestimating how much usage the blockchain already has. If you were to translate it there, right? So the amount of TVL that you guys have with your decks, the amount of activity on the marketplace. And then we'll pull up like some user numbers, just some light on chain numbers. And I've heard you talk about right now, in beta stages, you either have to be owning or renting land to be able to get into the game. And it's kind of like the user numbers are kind of capped with the 10,000. Is it 10,000 original land plots, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So just kind of like, I think that people, the numbers now, I think are maybe a fraction of what are going to be using the Vulcan ecosystem. So I just kind of wanted to talk to you about like, the other projects and y'all's partnership with Hustleverse, ironic name, by the way, very weird. Y'all came out with this partnership. I was like, well, okay, nice. But this looks awesome. And this is something that y'all have developed.
Yeah. We're making the Hustleverse for them. And I have to give them a big shout out, because these guys are just connected all the way to the very top, and they've they've got in, which are coming to Elysium, some enormous fashion brands, some enormous music names are all going to be coming to Elysium, because these guys have the connection. So us making Hustleverse was a no-brainer. It was just like, well, you're bringing these people to our chain, we'll make your Hustleverse, and it's going to be like a modern version of Vulcanverse, but with music, Hollywood stuff, and all these big names.
I'll be there. It fits me. It's basically got my name in it, and it looks amazing. Like, so how long has this been in development, I guess?
Only a month or so. I mean, you have to remember, Vulcanverse took us about a year to get to a good stage. So once we got Vulcanverse out, it's quite easy for us to kind of copy and paste, I'd say, sort of replicate what we're making, but in other genres. So Vulcanverse, it's fantasy, it's Greco-Roman, but you're obviously limited. We can't stick an Adidas or a Nike sort of phone in there. You're limited to Greco-Roman mythology. But something like the Hustleverse, it's modern, so we can make all these partners, and we've got a reason to bring them to Elysium, because you can put anything in there. But yeah, I think they'll do really well, very well connected, and we get a lot of metaverses coming to us asking to build it for them, but. Yeah, I mean, we can't do that all the time. We are opening up a metaverse fund at some point, but unless they're coming to Elysium, we're kind of saying no now, because we really want to sort of push our own blockchain down everyone's throat.
Yeah, and for people who don't know, The Hustle is a music Web3 metaverse gaming and NFT company. So basically bringing entertainment and music capabilities into the digital world, NFTs, metaverse, all that good stuff, for those who may not know what The Hustle is. And then also Chumby Valley has an amazing following, and I know that this project's definitely got a lot of hype behind it as well. And this is another project that'll be running on the Elysium chain, correct?
Yeah, well, we're building it all as well. We're building Chumby, we're building Hustle, building Sin City as well. Should give them a shout out. So we are building all these, but obviously the catch is that they come to Elysium, and obviously Lava is used and Peers use, and everyone's happy. But yeah, a lot of metaverses. I mean, it shows how early we are really now. I mean, as I always say, like, hats off to Decentraland and Sandbox, but you can see where the virtual worlds are going to be going, where you can actually own this stuff in these really realistic worlds. But again, what is a metaverse? Is it what Mark Zuckerberg thinks it's going to be, or is it NFT gaming? I mean, someone said to me, it's not metaverses, it's just one metaverse, and we're just all within it. I always say, well, Vulcanverse is a metaverse, or Chumpy Valley is another metaverse. So even myself, I can't really get the definition right.
Eventually, I think that maybe the interoperability factor, right, where you could maybe bring your NFT into different worlds, stuff from your OpenSea wallet, you could start using as your character in some games like the Hustleverse, for example. Culturally speaking, so many people use their profile pictures these days, not so much because they like the picture. It's more so because it's a status symbol, right? You have a Bored Ape as your profile picture. It's kind of like the new driving up in the Lamborghini to the club type of thing. So I think like in that retrospect, there's just so much you can do, right? So your ecosystem potentially could actually incorporate all the characters into one, and that adds so much more appeal. And I think that's where you could call it one metaverse, right? An all-encompassing metaverse. But right now, I definitely think it's and that's possible, right? The blockchain makes that possible, and I think that could be where it goes. But right now, I definitely would say it's not one metaverse, and let's just, dear God, let's hope that it's not Zuckerberg's metaverse.
No. I don't even know if he's including blockchain in it. I haven't even looked into it much. I think he's more about the VR and all that kind of stuff. But I haven't looked much at it.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea the blockchain capabilities, but I don't cover it because I don't want it to be the one. So okay,
right,
like whatever they do, let's just hope it's not the one that's really adopted. So obviously,
unfortunately, it might be at first, but who knows? But actually saying that's what I was saying. Like, I think crypto, just like the NFT art, has got its own audience. Like that's why the Ubisoft gamers didn't really warm to their NFTs. That's why real artists don't get much NFT hype. But I know a project that had some really big name artists, and they announced they were releasing an NFT, and their Twitter community went ballistic on them. They went mad. Oh, you're going to kill the environment. Don't do that. And the artists had to sort of close down the comment section. So, but instead you've got this kind of niche group of of course, the gorillas and all the other sort of crazy sort of what they call pixel art and sort of this.
Yeah.
It's like a theme. It's a different demographic. And I think it's the same with those that want to own virtual world. It's a type of person. I don't think you're going to bring in all the gamers like you think we are yet.
Yeah, agreed. And can you tell people about the initiative behind the blockchain? What has attracted all of the attention that's upcoming, right? You'll have a lot of announcements and developments in the pipeline with the blockchain specifically. So what's the initiative behind the blockchain that I absolutely love, but what feels to be gravitating a lot of eyes towards the project?
Yeah, so we partnered with a company called Chorus, where we sort of had the idea that you could buy a tree in Vulcanverse, and you'd have the same tree planted on a plot in Spain, and the community just loved that idea. And then we sort of, we took that idea and thought, well, let's just put it on steroids or something, and let's just get a load of acres and just say every transaction that uses Elysium will put some of that gas fee to buying some trees. So it works out at, I think, €6 per tree. We've got about 500 trees already, 60,000 acres ready to plant on. So the more the blockchain is used, you're literally going to see trees being planted across these acres. And each one of the trees has got like an NFT on it. And we're talking to this electric signal company thing, whatever, where you can actually see the waves of the sound of the tree growing and all this kind of stuff. But either way, you can track these trees as you're using the blockchain. So as I said, these big, and I mean big brands, and that's some proper alpha for anyone listening, big brands are choosing Elysium because, well, they can say, well, this is green. This is offsetting the carbon footprint, because the more we're using this blockchain, the more trees are going to grow. You can't really argue with that, all this
Absolutely.
It's great on paper, but when you see trees grow, you can't. That's the way forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love even just lightly, right? So just on a glance right now, the Vulcan Marketplace is number 20 in marketplaces. With 7 million in volume over the last 30 days. Do these numbers sound right? I'm always curious how these websites line up.
Unfortunately, it's a bit misleading because that radar is great tracker, but it only tracks when you sort of interact with the NFT. So it will only, so you don't actually know when people are on there or browsing or they're in a game. If they don't use their NFT, it doesn't get tracked on it. It's only blockchain sort of interaction, so it kind of looks less than it is. So
well, even the TVL here is impressive, and I think it might be more than that. Or is that about right?
Yeah, because we've added Ethereum now. I mean, we've got the peer pair. We've got a partnership with Sandbox where we're doing a peer and sand pair together. It's just for gaming tokens. I mean, we just added NFT farming options, so not only do you lock up a pair, but you get an NFT from both games if you lock up a certain amount.
Perfect.
But,
yeah.
We're not reinventing the wheel with a lot of this stuff. We're just sort of just doing it in a fun way, I suppose.
Definitely, and I'm super excited for the mainnet to potentially go live. When would that timeline be? No hard dates. What's the timeline?
We'll say Q1. Do you know what? I'll say Q4, 2025. Then I can't get back to then. Anything earlier than then, and we're safe. But testnet's working fine. We just got to get the lava as gas as opposed to the native token of Elysium, and that's the final.
That's Now that's a good idea. So you were talking about feeding off of the pillars of the space, their tokenomics, seeing what people did wrong and right, and like SLP, making sure it doesn't inflate to a point where it's just worthless, right? It de-incentivizes players to earn it. So I love that idea right there too. A kind of a flip almost, right? When you're in a play to earn economy of a blockchain, maybe using the lava that's brilliant. What made you think of that? That's actually incredible.
No idea. These things come to some of the staffers overnight. It just would need a utility for lava, and we have many upgrading fees and all this kind of stuff. We thought, well, if you need it for the blockchain, that any company that puts an NFT on Elysium or a token on Elysium, they'll need to buy lava. So there'll always be a constant demand of lava, so it will never drop to zero. So we know that much. So yeah, I mean, it could have been anything as gas. So making it lava made total sense to us.
And honestly, it goes right along the lines: burn lava. Hey. I don't know. Maybe that was intentional. Maybe that was intentional, but I love that spin.
Pretend it is and edit it out. But yeah, and we're going to have a visual sort of volcano to track the blockchain where you see the lava. Every time there's a transaction, the lava will spurt, from the volcanoes or where.
That's absolutely amazing. I love it. And last question, and I'll let you go. I know you're busy and I want to let you rest. But when... or what will be entailed with the nodes? So this is an opportunity that we've seen across the DeFi space. We've seen Gala Games do a node system. So this would be a capability for basically owners of PYR to be able to come in here and participate in the node economy and earn from the fees of the blockchain. Is that correct?
You got it. Yeah, you got it. Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be like a bit of a proof of authority blockchain where you have these different little node levels. Right? You have like an Olympian node, Titan node, Hermes node, depending on how much peer you have and you lock it up. And then the more the chain is used, you get a percentage of lava on every transaction. So if you've got one of the highest nodes, you lock up that peer, you've got a node, and not only do you generate lava if you hold peer, you generate lava anyway. Even if it's one peer, you generate a small amount of lava. But if you have a node, you do a multiplier on that lava. So you're generating lava with a node, but you're also receiving transaction fees from the lava the more the node is used. So yeah, I mean, we're going to give plenty of time and chance for people to sort of lock up their peer and get it ready. I would have said get mainnet out first and then the node program beginning in Q2, I would have thought.
Yeah, that's awesome. I will definitely be getting involved there. So that is something I'm looking forward to because I absolutely love what y'all are doing. And we'll wrap it up there. Jamie, I really appreciate you joining and just kind of giving all your insights on where the space is headed, kind of your background, as well as everything about the project. I feel like we kind of dove into top to bottom what y'all are doing, and you'll have so much in the pipeline to be excited about. And I know after this, I'm gonna go to the gym here in a bit, and I'm gonna make sure that I get back on Berserk and finish off my XP requirements.
You need your 10K XP to stay. Have you got land, Johnny?
So I don't yet. No, I don't. But I know
that the staking for the land is a very big pool.
Yes. It's actually on my list though, because it's an ecosystem that I'm more and more participating in. As I've told you, I've been playing a couple of the games. So
yeah, great. You definitely need some Vulcanverse land because or you can join as a scholar, Cedalion. But yeah, that's where the fun is really at, getting land in Vulcanverse.
Perfect reminder. I don't want people to miss that. Okay, so let's talk about that. The Cedalion program, really quick. So that is your
Cedalions.
So that's your scholarship program, basically, right?
Yeah, it is. It is scholarships. I mean, we try to be a little bit different by calling them Cedalions instead of scholars, but we find we just keep saying it's scholars to sort of clarify confusion. So yeah, here you are. So if you've got a piece of land, you can put it up to rent. So right now, you yourself could join one of these pieces of land. It shows you the split of lava you're going to get 50-50, or you keep 100% of it. You have building rights, you don't have building rights. And yeah, it's just a very automated system. It's like kind of like eBay or classified for land. So you could click on one of those lands now. You could go and play and build on the land, fight, forage. And the owner of that land will get 50% of the lava you earn, and you get 50% of the other lava. And it literally gets automated to your account. But the other thing we did quite sneaky was you can't turn that lava into the actual tokens until you hit 10,000 XP. So this is another way to stop people just coming in, taking a few quid and leaving. So you have to sort of, play a little bit and prove that you want to be part of the ecosystem, and then you just cash out.
That's exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to get to those XP requirements. And yeah, I will be moving some of my peer holdings over to some land, my friend, definitely. And you've created a little more FOMO than already was there. So might have to make that happen this weekend. So
all right. I'll look for the green candles.
Definitely. Well, Jamie, I appreciate you, man. We'll just wrap it up here, guys. Jamie, anything you want to say to look forward to in the next few weeks? Anything you want to drop? Any alpha for the?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, look out for the big names, like names which, when I say big, I mean huge, who are coming to Elysium. We're talking fashion, Hollywood, all sorts. Look out for that. And otherwise, just join Vulcanverse, join the Discord, friendly community, lots of really good, cool energy there. And I appreciate you having me on the show, mate.
Dude, absolutely. I really have been wanting to have you on. I finally made the reach out and was excited to hear that you were interested in coming on just as much as I wanted to have you. So, guys, I will be back on Monday. Be sure to like the video for more crypto gaming. If you are bullish on the space, if you want more interviews just like this, we could definitely have Jamie back on. And I think for a roundtable discussion too would be great over the space, because you're so sharp on that. And that's something I kind of want to start maybe implementing here and there, some sharp people in the space that are builders and just have their eye on the ball to kind of discuss it. So look out for more in the future, guys. If you enjoyed, like video and subscribe. We'll be back on Monday. Until then, play well, my friends.